This is Gene and I'm back with another video. So first of all, I hope everybody is doing well wherever you are. I know that it's a pretty, tough and uncertain time, and depending on your circumstances, you might be just a little cooped up with some cabin fever, or you might actually be struggling with work or lack thereof, depending on what you do. And there are some people who are essential workers, such as people who are keeping supermarkets going, and of course medical personnel, and then of course there's firefighters and police and all other types. So whatever your role in life is, thank you for whatever it is that you do, whether it be for yourself or your families. And if you are one of those essential workers, thank you so much for what you do. And yeah, just we're all, I guess we're all struggling together, as the saying goes, and we're all in this together, even if we are in it in different ways. Some of us, again, are blessed to maybe not be worried about work. Some of us are not. But whatever you're going through, I hope that it'll be okay. Humans are resilient. There's one thing that history has proven, that humans are resilient. If the Black Plague couldn't get rid of us, neither will the coronavirus. But anyway, I wanted to talk about that. Briefly talk about that, but also I wanted to talk about this very briefly because I've seen it floating around. And given my love of storytelling, I thought I would just, opine about what I think one of the many problems is. So this is Avar Kriss, who of course is one of the many characters who's going to be featured in the Star Wars High Republic thing that should be coming out at some point. Now, I've already made a video about her absolutely awful sword stance, so I'm not going to go over that again. But what I wanted to talk about was this idea that she's a Mary Sue. So here is the description of her. From best I can tell, this is the official description of her. It says, Avar is the brightest, most noble example of Jedihood. She always tries to see the good in people and situations and never puts herself first. She is invigorated about life on the frontier and the challenges it brings, and is an inspiration to those who work with her. She is compassionate, not dogmatic, and always ready to sacrifice herself over others. Avar Kriss is the best of the best. Here's the thing. I know a lot of people consider this Mary Sue-ish. I don't. I think that with poor writing, which this will probably have, this can become a Mary Sue, but I don't consider this description in and of itself a Mary Sue. You could think of many characters across various media that could be described as kind and compassionate and self-sacrificing and putting themselves first or whatnot. So I personally don't view this description as Mary Sue-ish in and of itself. Bad writing is what will make it Mary Sue-ish. What I noticed is everything that is not being said here. Now, what do I mean by that? What I mean is, if there's one thing I have learned in life, a life of watching sports and competing in sports when I was younger and healthier, and a lifetime of consuming media and reading, whether it be books or manga or watching anime or reading comics or whatever, is that all these wonderful, beautiful traits here, right? Being noble and being seeing the good in others and putting others first, all this wonderful stuff comes at a cost. Here's the thing about being the hero, right? The thing about being the hero is that it is inherently tragic. It is full of pain and sacrifice. And usually what makes it all worth it for the hero is the sense that they're doing something or living for something greater than themselves, that for all the sacrifices, excuse me for the city noises, but it's warm here and I'm not closing the windows. But anyway, as I was saying, of course, as I'm recording. Come on, biker, move it, motorcycle person. Anyway, as I was saying, the price of being a hero, right, is painful, it's tragic, but there's something greater to it, and that's what makes it worthwhile. So the question is, for me, is what price is Avar Kriss paying to be all these things? What is she losing? What is she sacrificing? Right? What price is she paying to become Jedi Jesus? So I'm going to go through each line and I'm going to hypothesize and what I think would flesh this description out better if we knew about actually what she is sacrificing to be this embodiment of moral perfection. Right? So it says here that she is the brightest, most noble example of Jedihood. Okay. First of all, what is the definition of Jedihood? There are so many different types of Jedi. There's Luke. There's Qui-Gon Jinn. There's Obi-Wan Kenobi. And many, many, many others who I'll probably never know. Right? Each one of them has a different approach to being a Jedi. You even have fallen Jedi, such as, of course, Anakin Skywalker, right? You also have people who left the Jedi Order, such as Ahsoka, who could be said, although she's no longer a Jedi, perhaps is still living by the Jedi philosophy. So, what exactly is Jedihood? That's the first question. But here's the thing. She always tries to see the good in people and situations. That's very noble, but what does it cost her? Because if she's always seeing the good in people, right, if she's never making, or rather, if she's never assuming the worst, I would imagine that she's had her trust betrayed a few times, right? Maybe she's a bit too trustworthy if she's always seeing the best in others and never puts herself first. Well, okay, again, what is she paying for this? For example, right? People who are caregivers, whether they are professional caregivers like nurses and nurses assistants and home health aides or whatnot, or people who are just caregivers, right? Whether they're parents or whether they're adult children taking care of sick family, whatever it is. Being a caregiver is physically and emotionally draining, especially if you're doing it for a very long time, years and years and years. It is incredibly taxing on the caregiver. And usually, and this is the problem with being a caregiver, is that the caregiver is so giving, so sacrificing, that they have nothing left for themselves, right? Caregivers, and I've experienced this personally because I am a caregiver. I take care of an ill family member. And, at least in my experience, what I have gone through is, burnout. My own health has suffered deep bouts of depression. And I think many people who have been in that place, whether for a short time or a long time, can relate. That's the price you pay, right? Your own health, your own mental and physical health is the price that you pay for being a caregiver. I remember hearing once, and I think it's true to a certain degree, that when people who are caregivers, right, finally break down and they cry or they fall into depression or they become apathetic or whatever it is, right, they experience some sort of emotional breakdown. What happens, or rather what the saying said, is that when you go through this, it's not a sign that you're weak. It's a sign that you've been strong for too damned long and you can't take it anymore. So my question is, what price is she paying for always putting others first? Does she feel unfulfilled in her own life because she's very rarely doing things for herself? Does she feel used? Does she feel unappreciated? Again, is she suffering from emotional burnout? Does she feel depressed? What price is she paying for being such a giving person, always putting others before herself? It's a very noble goal, but it's incredibly difficult to do because it's effing painful. So here it says, she is invigorated about life on the frontier and the challenges it brings, and is an inspiration to those who work with her. Okay, well, again, what does that cost her? If she's invigorated about life on the frontier, well, I would imagine that means that she's being separated at least for a time from friends and family. So is she giving that up? Is she spending time away from home? Has she cut ties with her family to pursue this life on the frontier as the description what's what I'm looking for implies, right? And if she's invigorated by the challenges, well, has she been traveling before? Does she know the dangers? Has she lost people on the way? Right? What's the story here? And she's an inspiration for those who work with her. Well, again, what is she giving up for being inspiring? Is she trying to be a good leader but is secretly struggling with feeling like she's inadequate? Right? Does she believe in what she's saying? Does she believe in the mission? She is compassionate, not dogmatic, and always ready to sacrifice herself uh, over others. Okay, again, compassion. What is she paying for her compassion? Is she isolated from her family? For example, um, Samara from the Mass Effect games, right? She's deeply compassionate, but her compassion has separated her from her family because her compassion has led her to pursue her serial killer daughter. And to do that, she had to join a ancient uh, kind of like warrior order among her people known as the Justicars. And the Justicars demand that any member cut off all ties with their family. So Samara is deeply compassionate, and it cost her her few possessions, and it cost her her relationship with her remaining family members, in particular her two daughters. So again, what price is Avar Kriss here paying to be Jedi Jesus? She's not dogmatic. Okay, again, did she grow up in a dogmatic household? Was she part of a dogmatic order? Is she estranged from family? These things don't come easily. You have to you have to lose something, you have to give up something, you have to sacrifice something to embody these particular traits. Always ready to sacrifice herself. Okay, but what does that mean? Is she willing to sacrifice her time, her money? Is she willing to sacrifice her life, right? Think about Jesus, right? Up he gave everything up to and including his life. Whatever you think about Christ and religion, and I'm just saying, as the tale is told, he sacrificed everything, including his life. So how sacrificial is Avar Kriss? Is she willing to die for what she believes in? Is she willing to lose her life for another Jedi? Is she willing to die to protect an innocent? Is she willing to die to even save the enemy if there's a chance of redeeming them? Right? That's the question. What is she willing to lose? Avar Kriss is the best of the best. Well, if there's one thing I've learned from a lifetime of watching sports and competition is that if you are the best of the best, right? If you're headed for the Hall of Fame, that means that not only did you have exceptional talent from the get-go, but you also were working hard, probably the hardest worker in the room. All right, so you're sacrificing time, you're sacrificing rest, you're sacrificing bonding with your team. A lot of world class Olympic champion athletes will tell you that um, that they feel very isolated from other people because they're always dedicated to their craft. They're always training, right? They don't have many friends because, frankly, they don't have time to make friends because anything that is not helping them improve their or rather, I should say, improve at their craft, right? Whether it be gymnastics or basketball or football or whatever it is, if it's not time spent in pursuit of that goal, whether it be the world championship, the finals, the Olympics, whatever it is, it's a waste. That's how they tend to view it. So, what are they sacrificing? Are they sacrificing a normal life? Are they sacrificing a love life? Right? Are they sacrificing, again, time with family, time with kids? Because, especially if it's something where you're traveling a lot, like for business, sports, or whatever, you ain't home. You are not home. Athletes are on the road. Athletes are on the road like, hundreds of days a year, at least, right? They don't get to see their families all that much. That's the sacrifice that they pay to chase their dream. And these are just some examples, right? But that for me is the question. We're only getting one side of the story with this description, right? It's fine to know that she's compassionate and self-sacrificing and all this other stuff. That's all well and good. But the question is, what is she sacrificing for this? How are these things hurting her? Because this stuff hurts you. If there's one thing I have learned from a lifetime of watching sports and reading comics and consuming various media, is that everything here that is being propped up hurts you. It's not easy to be compassionate or to be self-sacrificing or to be a caregiver or all these other things. It demands a lot of you, mentally and physically. It is by no means easy, and for many of us, it's not even natural, right? To varying degrees. So it takes a lot of hard work to be this noble, right? So the question is, where's her hard work? That's what I want to know. Has she always been this way, or I'm hoping that maybe she wasn't always this way, and the character we see now, is a result of years and years and years of humbling experience and loss and sacrifice that has forged her into the person she is now. But knowing the current crop of people behind Star Wars and knowing that their agenda has absolutely nothing to do with good storytelling, I have no doubt that this character is going to end up much like Rey, right? A Mary Sue that's supposed to be replacing a male character. Sue was supposed to be Luke Skywalker, not Sue, sorry. Rey was supposed to be Luke Skywalker as a girl. Avar Kriss is supposed to be Jesus as a female Jedi. But the question is, what price are you paying? What are you sacrificing? Because you can't just get here. You aren't just born this way. You have to pay in pain and blood and sacrifice to become this. So that's the story I want to read. That's the story I want to know. And sadly, that's the story they're probably not going to write. But anyway, that's the video. Please let me know what you think, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a good day or night. Stay healthy, wash your hands, stay inside. We'll get through this. See you around. Bye.